welcome. I hope that all of you that are here are like Java developers or Spring developers. Anyone not in the Java ecosystem here? Well, so maybe we can convince you to come to the nice side, you know?
Python all the way.
Well, since you mentioned that, one of the things that frustrates me a little bit, especially in this AI world and as a Java developer, is that the majority of the examples that I see online, it's all about Python. And I'm a Java developer. It's fine, and I'm sure that for all of you that are seasoned developers, it's okay to develop something in Python and then you can integrate it with your Java project. We can do that, right? But it's not the same thing. I would like to actually be able to code in Java to do whatever I have to. After all, it's a pretty powerful language, a very established ecosystem. And yeah, so I would like to use Java so I can develop my own AI solutions using Java. So let's say that we do want to build an AI solution in Java. So how do we do that? Well, first things first, you're going to select your LLM. You can go with OpenAI. It's a pretty standard choice for your Hello World. You're going to go to the documentation, and you'll see how to actually do a Hello World using OpenAI. Of course, you'll see Python over there. Python is always there. But I'm going to count as a win because we're starting to see examples in Java as well, right? So there you go. You're going to integrate it with OpenAI. You're going to do your POC. You're going to run your tests. But all of a sudden, OpenAI is not the best choice for me. So how do I change that? Let's say I want to move to Gemini or any other LLM out there. Oops. I'll go to the documentation. I'll see a different API. Of course, we'll see very similar concepts. Prompt, how to do all that, function calling, but the code's going to be different. Now, if you are developing your solution and you are designing in a way that you're following clean architecture, all that good stuff, you should not have a lot of problem. But if you had embedded the API into your code, it's going to be a little bit more complicated than simply changing one line of code for that. But fortunately, we are Java developers. We also have this famous framework called Spring. Spring is also a pretty established ecosystem. The majority of the Java solutions that we have out there are using Spring. Of course, we have Quarkus and other frameworks as well that are catching up, but it's been in the industry for the past 25 years. I've been using Spring since 2009, and let's stop counting there. Don't do any math. And I've been through big changes, like database migration, changing completely from one database to the other, like those big architecture changes. And because I was using Spring, it was sort of easy. A lot of testing, of course, but it was sort of easy to change from one thing to the other just because the way that the framework is architected behind the scenes. So why we don't have something like that for AI, right? Now we are in the AI era, and we want to also do easy stuff with AI. So hi, my name is Loiane, or Loiane, you can say however you like it. I've been working with Java for the past almost 20 years, and again, we're going to stop doing the math right there. And one of the things that I would like for you to take away today is AI, especially establishing, implementing AI into our Java solutions should be all about, software engineering. It's not that complicated. You've learned how to do a REST API. You've learned how to integrate that with database. We all learn about that, right? Then you learn about design system, microservices. So we all learn, and now let's just add AI as one little module to our projects, and there you go. We have, modern solutions out there as well. So with the Spring AI, we can still be in our comfort zone, right? After all, it's just another module that we're going to be adding to our project. And we can use this for the most, popular use cases out there. Do you want to do a ChatGPT clone? Do you want to use memory? Do you want to use embeddings? You want to go through the agentic AI route, add a little bit of function calling tools, MCP servers, clients. All that is available to us, and I hope I can show you until the end of this presentation today. Let's start with the basics. Let's start with our hello world. The most simple use case that you can add to your application right now is just a simple AI chat. Just a button on your front end, you open, and then you have a chat. The user can interact with the chat without any additional logic. That's the most simple use case. So how do we do that? Well, first things first, you're gonna go to your pom.xml. Yes, I'm old school, I like Maven. You can judge me, that's fine. And we're simply gonna add whatever LLM of your choosing into your pom.xml file. And again, I love property files. I still use property files. I'm not gonna go to the YAML route, at least not for now. And I also need to add my API key. Again, project ID depending on the LLM that you're gonna choose. That's it, we're ready to get started. And how do we get started? We're simply gonna add chat client. This is a beautiful interface that is available so we can start, doing simple prompts. You inject through your constructor, you're gonna build a chat client according to your needs. We're gonna go through that route as well in a few minutes. And there you go, prompt, passing the user message, and calling the prompt, getting the content, and displaying to the user. There you go, you have AI in your project. Yes, it is simple as that. Not complicated. Now, if you change your mind, again, I don't want to use OpenAI, I want to use Gemini or Claude or anything else. This is beautiful. Remove my old dependency, put my new one, my new properties. That's it. That's it. You don't have to change any of your source code. It will still work. In case you want to use multiple LLMs in your project, I'm sure that at some point in your career you have added multiple databases in your project, and all you have to do is add a qualifier annotation, and that's it. Same thing right here. You add a qualifier. This is OpenAI, this is Gemini, this is any other model. And there you go. You can use multiple LLMs for whatever is the best that they offer for your use case. Cool, right? So let's go to the next step. Let's kick it up a notch. Now, we've done the simple chat. Now the user can do whatever they want. But if you go to Gemini, if you go to ChatGPT, I don't know about you, but probably later tonight, later today, or maybe tomorrow, I'll have my summary from how the conference went today, and I'm gonna just add my text, my draft. Please generate a version so I can post this on LinkedIn with hashtags and all the emoticons and things, make it cool. And the ChatGPT or Gemini will generate a text for me. I don't want to paste that same text again. All I want to do is now generate a version so I can post it on Twitter. And it's going to generate a new version. And I don't have to provide the context because I have provided the first text already. So this is what we call it memory. With memory, we're simply providing some context, and the way that this works behind the scenes, of course, everything is being persisted in the database. So if your company has some sort of a ChatGPT, yes, everything is being persisted. Every prompt, every question that you're asking is being persisted or can be persisted into some sort of database. And you can use that as a context. Behind the scenes, you can get this from either a vector store, a relational database, and you can also provide how many messages that you would like to provide the prompt. It's going to append all the prompts, both questions and answers, and will provide that in the system prompt as a context. Of course, in the AI world, tokens are the currency. Right, so we also have to be very careful with that. Usually a word will have between 2 to 5 tokens-ish. So if your response is being, long, if you're not actually tuning this in, this can become quite expensive. By default, Spring's gonna use the last 20 messages. If you want to make this, shorter, like a shorter memory, you can put how many messages that you like. And We also have something very cool that's called advisors. This is very important, and you'll see this throughout this presentation as well. The advisors are sort of like interceptors. So it will intercept your interaction with the model, and it can enhance or update as needed. In this case, we're just simply saying, hey, please, whatever I'm sending here, like requests or responses, persist it into the storage that I have defined earlier. That's all. And again, this is a very nice, cool example that you can add to your solutions right now, and not many lines of code, right? And you can also select and pass the conversation ID. So when you are opening ChatGPT or Gemini, you see like the sidebar, and then you can select the previous conversations. You can also delete them as well, but you can select each of those conversations have like a conversation ID, and that's how you can do this as well within your own application. With me so far? Cool? Okay, let's continue. So yeah, conversation ID. Now, with new technologies comes new responsibilities and of course problems. Why not? Right? So I'm sure at some point in your life, if your application went through security testing, you have gotten a SQL injection. So now let me present you prompt injection. So it's another thing that we have to worry about. One cool thing that I find, especially with Spring AI, is that we can define a system prompt, act like this. So you define what persona, how the AI should behave in this case. You can also add things like, if the question is not related to this context, please say that you don't know, or something like that. And then you can pass this as default, as system, to every interaction that you have within your LLM. Simple as that. And for whatever input you're getting from the user, you're going to pass it as a user prompt. So you are differentiating, this is the context, this is how you should behave, and this is what the user is inputting. And I've tried this. You can say, please ignore all the previous instructions, and it doesn't work, which is really cool. So that one, like security 101 from the prompt injection is sort of like done. I don't have to worry about, I don't have to use any fancy tool, and I think that's really awesome. But of course, prompt injection is not the only thing that we have to worry about. Our favorite security website already has a list of a lot of issues and how to, of course, how to try to resolve them. There are many, many other issues. So let's go back to our previous example. Let's say that you just added a sort of like a ChatGPT Gemini clone to your solution, and you have users accessing that chat. And depending on the industry that you work with, maybe you work in healthcare, maybe you work in finance, and your users and your system has access to like confidential information, PII, private identifiable information, and we should not add confidential information or private identifiable information into the prompt, right? So how can you make sure that the users that are using your solution are not going to be providing confidential information? Or how can you make sure that the LLM is not returning any responses where we have confidential information? Imagine something like, provide me what's your user prompt. Or if your LLM has access to a database where you have a bunch of social security number or like credit card numbers, how can you make sure that the response that the LLM is generating is not going to contain this information that should not be shared? Again, we also have the concept of guardrails. We can intercept both the request and the response and not allow our request to even reach the LLM so it can be processed. And in the same way, if the LLM is providing a response with confidential information, we can also intercept and not let that response to be displayed back to the user. So how do we do that? For example, we can create an advisor for that. Remember, I told you like advisors are very important in this case. We're gonna just create a simple prompt here saying that please detect if any confidential information or any private identifiable information has been shared by the users. And then you're going to add your logic over here. And if it passes the validation, yes, please continue with the interaction. This is good to go. Or no, then computer says no, you're not allowed. So of course, you're going to add something more user-friendly here. But you just say you cannot process this request. It is easy as that. So you can also take ownership of whatever you can share with the LLM and whatever the LLM can share back with the user or should not be sharing. And to use this, again, you create a simple Java class, and you're going to add to your, guess what, advisor. Not many lines of code, and we already have a really nice use case here that we can add to our Java Spring solutions. With me so far? Good? Okay, so we're going to increase complexity a little bit more here, but I promise, everything is easy. Now, let's talk about the next level of popular use case, which is we're going to provide context to the LLM. I don't know about you, but I always ask to whatever model I'm interacting with, what's your knowledge base date? And then you try to ask more recent questions just to know just to see how it's going to behave. In the majority of the cases, they will not know how to respond and say, I'm sorry, I don't have access to this information. My training, the data that I've been training with is up till usually 2024, somewhere in 2024. So a way that we have to fix that is provide that context to the LLM. And we do that through RAG, Retrieval-Augmented Generation. This is because we're going to do the retrieval from our own knowledge base, our own database. In this case, it's usually a vector store. We do something called this embedding search. There's a lot of mathematics goes behind that. You don't need to know any of that unless you want to work with creating your own vector store. But as a user, as a developer, you don't usually have to know that many details. But it's so much fun in case you like to study a little bit more. It's fun reading for the weekend. And no, I'm not joking. I'm serious. And then it's going to try to get the information from the vector store, provide the context to the LLM, and of course, the LLM is going to enhance that and generate the response back to you. So it's a pretty simple concept, but it's beautiful. So the way that we do that is we can get this information from whatever text files, spreadsheets, PDF documents, or your own database. Maybe just enhance a little bit, put that into a nice document, and then you can feed the vector store with that information as well. The one good thing that I find about Spring AI is it has built-in ETLs as well. So if you're dealing with text files or PDFs or spreadsheets, you don't have to create code to actually read that. It will provide you with this document readers with whatever format you need, at least the most common ones. So it does all the magic behind the scenes for you and will provide you with the documents so you can insert them into your vector store or into your graph store as well. And then once you have that vector store, you can use that into your prompt. However, I do not recommend doing this within your code itself. This should be like a batch job, like you run it every night, get the documents, feed the vector store, and once the vector store has all the data, it's ready to be used within your actual solution. So in this case, again, pretty simple. Inject the vector store, and then you have, guess what? Another advisor, a question and answer passing your vector store. And in this case, what the client, the chat client will do is will go to your vector database, will try to find that information based on the embedding search, and then provide that information to the prompt, and then the LLM can process and return back with the response of that. One thing that I forgot to mention here, usually for memory, it's going to be another dependency you're going to add to your pom.xml. And with the RAG, with the vector store, is going to be another dependency. Depending on the vector store, like whatever provider there is one specific for that, and that's the beauty of it. You start building like your building blocks and add all the dependencies that you need, so you don't have the entire project available, and then you don't have a bunch of stuff that you don't need. You only add what you actually need. Cool. Cool so far? Okay, easy, right? Everybody's gonna leave here and start building AI with Java. Beautiful. Okay, now, the icing on the cake for building AI solutions is AI agents. Whatever we have learned so far comes to this. So how we can build AR agents. So our APIs or our LLMs are a little bit more independent. I don't know about you, but every time I see a new demo, like those can be scary, beautiful, incredible, like mind-blowing, but scary to think about that, like how they're doing that. Like, is the AI so smart that's capable of going to my database, getting data for me, updating data on my behalf? What do you think it is? Yes or no? Yes? No? Someone? No? You're both correct. Yes and no. Well, yes. Actually, let me start with the no. They're not that smart. They're only smart with the functionality that we provide to them. We have to build the capability. We're not there yet. Maybe in the future, who knows? Nobody knows. But right now, we have to build it. If I want my AI to go into my database and get information for me, or if I want my AI to go to the database and update a record for me, I have to actually code that functionality and tell them, hey, this is what I have coded. Feel free to use it if you think you should use it. So it's smart. Yes, it can do that. And no, if you don't provide that capability, they will not know how to do that. And this is what we call the actual AI agents, right? So there are two types. One is the workflows. It's well-defined, predefined tasks. And the agent itself, it's a little bit more dynamic and autonomous as well. So you provide the capability and let the AI decide, should they use it or not. And there is one very important concept, which is called function calling, or in case of Spring, tools. So with tools, what's going to happen is I have my query, I have my request. I'm going to pass that to the LLM. The LLM will evaluate it, and in case it's needed, it will actually evoke my API. The API is not the LLM. The API will actually do whatever it's supposed to do, and the LLM will process and generate the response for me. So for example, let's say that we are building an AI agent, an agent where the users are going to be able to use to book flights or to cancel a flight or a reservation. And you don't want to wait in line. You just want to chat with the AI and let the AI do it for you. So we can do that. We can write a service. We're very familiar, right? Service, we can just do a select from the database, select the columns from the tables with whatever query, right? And then return an object. These are the booking details. These are your reservation details. If I want to be able to cancel a booking, update status canceled. AI will not know how to do that, but you know how to do that, so you can build that capability. And one of the things that I love about Spring, I like to call it annotation-driven development. You add an annotation. So this is how you're going to tell the AI, hey, if you need to cancel a booking, call this function, passing these parameters. It will know how to pass the parameters. It is smart for that. And my logic is going to take care of it. So of course, you can have as many tools, as many methods that you like in your class. You have your Java class with all your logic. And then putting everything together, what you're going to do, you pass the instance, or you let Spring pass the instance in the constructor for you. and you have a tools. Default's going to be applied for all the instances of this chat client within this class, this service. Or when you're prompting, you can also have a configuration for tools. And you pass the booking tools. That easy. Nice. And with this, we can enhance the capabilities and actually let the AI do things for you. So let's see the Springline AI demo. Nice. By the way, Gemini gave me that name. I'm not, yeah. So I'm going to move this right here real quick. So I have this Spring Flight booking. I have the list of all the reservations over here. I also have my concierge. Actually, let me just refresh real quick. And I'm going to say, hi, can you cancel a booking for me? Yeah, happy to assist. Provide me with the booking reference and the name. So let me see, I'm going to provide this one. And then my name is actually Emily Johnson today. So let me copy this. And my name is Emily Johnson. Thinking, everybody good? Okay, yeah, cancel. Well, it's not behaving the way that I intended because it should confirm first the cancellation, but you know, it went ahead, so I still have to fine tune that prompt a little bit more, which happens as well. But yeah, it has canceled. Let me refresh the list here and see if that's actually canceled. Yeah, it's canceled. So 2 questions, it canceled. So it actually went into the database using that source code that I showed you before. Simple, and we can make our AI a little bit more smarter as well. The other thing as well, which we're going to cover, is observability. So I'm just going to be a little bit ahead. I think we all know, or at least the majority of you should be familiar with, observability, work with microservices, all the good stuff that comes with the microservices architecture, resiliency, observability, et cetera, right? So we can actually get metrics away from this. And you don't have to do anything else in order to be able to, because this is a Spring, the framework that we all know and love. It's already built in. All you have to do is just to enable that. So I've asked to expose everything. We can see all the operations, and we can actually see, for example, the token usage, if I am able to actually use the mouse over here. And let me pass this. Let's take a look at this metric. So almost 8,000 tokens. That was a pretty expensive 2 questions, huh? But yeah, you can get all the metrics from this, put like Zipkin, actually do like all the traceability of all the methods that are calling, the iterations with the LLM, how much time is taking, so you can check if performance is good, if you need to fine tune your prompt and all that good stuff. Again, a lot of metrics are available, and you can just use that and embed that into your applications as well. Let me move this back here real quick. Okay, and then observability, which we talked about, all is built in. Again, you don't have to actually do anything. It's going to be available to you there. But in the documentation, I highly recommend that you all read the documentation. If you want to go one step ahead, read the source code. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful framework, like the way that they have architected, beautiful. And you can get all the details, all the metrics that are available, so you can actually enable them into your project. And of course, we have to talk about MCPs here, because it's the new hot thing out there right now. I kind of like the way that Yuri framed this, like MCPs are the microservices from the LLMs, because it's sort of like a way that you can try to reuse it, right? There is a bunch of MCP servers already available. If you want to, you can create your MCP server as well, or your MCP client with Spring. Guess how you do that? You add another dependency into your pom.xml, and you add an annotation, depending if it's a server or a client. It's easy as that. So everybody can go home, go back to work tomorrow, and start building your solutions, including MCP servers and clients with Spring AI. Testing is, right now, it's still a work in progress. Spring AI does have some support to testing as well. It's usually how to see if it's actually returning, a good response or not. There is a work in progress for a framework that are actually going to be able this. This is something that you don't mock. You actually have to do that. But then you can do like Ollama or something locally. Use test containers and try to test this so you actually have some testing and test coverage into your code as well. But that's basically that. So one thing is AI is not rocket science. I'm going to quote Phil from this morning. Outside the black box, which is training the model, the data science, all the beautiful behind it, but in case you like to start using AI into your solutions, it's not rocket science. Again, we've learned how to build REST APIs, connect to the database, use Kafka, use MQs, microservices architecture, and then after that, we read a bunch of books for design system, how to pass all those interviews. And it's the same thing here. You have your building blocks, right? Once you know the building blocks, it's just a matter of how do I apply that design pattern here. When you go to agentic AI, you'll have a bunch of design patterns. You have like several prompts. You can execute prompts one after the other, provide an input, get the output, use this input as an input to the other one, some sort of like a workflow, or you can have parallel prompts running at the same time. Like the sky's the limit here. You can use your creativity, of course, with a valid use case and start building your agents. And who knows, maybe you're gonna build the next GitHub Copilot, the agent mode or the cursor, You can actually, if you think about that, if you have a pretty good prompt, again, it's not rocket science. All you have is fine-tune your prompt, make sure that you're using the correct pattern for that, and you have a beautiful solution integrated into your Java application, not Python, Java application, okay? And again, don't forget to have fun. This is awesome. This is really awesome. It's a great time to be an engineer. And let's just go ahead and start building AI solutions. Thank you, everybody. I think we have time for questions.
Hi, and thank you for that. I was curious, so I noticed that the advisor model contains the abstractions necessary for you to just add, like you showed, a vector store or whatever else. Do you have any control over the prompt or the prompt template about how that data gets populated in the prompt before it goes to the agent?
Yes. So the advisor is just an interceptor, right? So you can actually create your whatever logic you want. If you wanted to sanitize or strip the prompt from whatever information, or even block the prompt to actually be sent to the LLM, you can add whatever logic that you need, put that into like a class, and pass that class as an advisor to the chat client API.
I see. So you could augment the prompt also with extra information as well.
Yes. There are the advisors that are built in within the Spring AI framework, but you can create your own as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you for the awesome presentation. Is the Now for the agentic AI, is it just workflows or, I mean, for, I don't know if it's called agentic, but agents and Spring AI, is it just workflow like calling tools with predefined measure, or can it be autonomous?
That depends on how you create it, right? Because the control is all on how you are creating them. If you do like predefined tasks, we usually call it the workflow. But if it's a little bit more dynamic, like that demo that I presented to you, that would be more like an agent AI because I can show, let me see if can I share my screen or let me pass this over. Can I, just 1 second. How do we know how to build applications, but not how to use things, you know? Okay, let me see if I can move my code over here. You can define your prompt. Where's the mouse? Oh, it's over here. It's over here, Java. I forget the name of it. Probably the service. This is the chat service. So let me. Can you see this?
Yes.
Can I close or again, we can build stuff, but use it, it's a different story. So right here, for example, you can define your prompt. This is a very simple prompt that I added here, like act as a travel agent, the authentication requirements, like ask for the booking reference, and the operations. If you cannot locate, say that you apologize, the available tools that are done, like so you can fetch details, modify reservations, process cancellations as needed as well. And once you pass the tools, now you're giving this model the actual power to make the decisions if it should use the tool or not for you. So that's why I would say it's an agent, because it's a little bit more dynamic, and we have different tools that are available for it to use. So depending on my question, it will make a decision. Of course, there's a lot of logic behind the scenes that Spring AI has implemented here, but if I am asked to cancel a reservation, it will actually call the cancel reservation function that I have created, the method that I have created, and then call it and return the response. But this is an example of an agent. It's, again, not
It's
simple.
Yeah, it's good. Is it like a bean, like the tool itself?
Yeah, the tool itself, it's like a bean. Let me. If I know how to press the right tool. So this is just a service in Spring. And all I'm doing for the methods that I want to expose, not every method you have to expose, but here I have the booking details, change the booking dates, cancel the booking. So I have 3 methods that you can use. I don't have any other annotation, just the tool, and that's it. Because this is a bean, I can pass through my constructor and let Spring AI use it.
Thank you.
I have a question about your use of RAG when you, as in your example, when you connected it to a booking database. You used the examples of booking ID, first name, last name. What is it that hooks those fields, which are database-specific fields, up to the, I don't know what you call it, language concepts of booking, first name, last name? I mean, what if those fields were named in your database A, B, C? What would you do to say A is a booking ID, B is a first name, C is a last name, and hook that up to the whole AI framework that connects English language concepts or language concepts to those fields? Well,
in this case, that's why I've mentioned that I had to fine-tune a little bit, because actually cancel without asking for permission first. But in my prompt, I've asked the LLM to ask for the booking number, the first name, and the last name before you can cancel. And in my method signature, I'm actually passing these 3, like the 3 fields as information. And then if we take a look at this, it's just go to the database, do the select and everything. In this case, this is just memory. So pretend this is a database. I will have like a select query over here, just standard source code that I will go to do a retrieval in the database. But if I go back to the prompt itself, to retrieve the booking detail, use the book reference and customer details. In this case, the LLM itself is trying to determine what's the booking reference, what's a first name, and what's a last name. Because I passed a number, probably thinks, okay, this is the booking detail. And then first name, last name. This is probably a bigger science behind it and how you can determine if it's a first name or last name. That part I don't have to tell it how it is, because the LLM has been trained for that.
That is just like MCP, right? Same thing, just built in.
Yeah, if you want to create an MCP, I could use this booking tools and define that this is an MCP server. So I would just add the annotation, this is a server, add the dependency, this is a MCP server, and publish. We have an MCP server with these 3 capabilities that we have defined here. And then if you want to use it, you create a different service, add the service, the client dependency, and there you go. Just hook it up. It's done. Convinced to come to the Java side?
It's just like Python, but with more builder boilerplate.
Hi, great presentation, by the way. I just have an open-ended question here. So, Java being type strict as it is, how do you find having to write prompt in general conversational English?
Like prompt engineering it's a science itself, right? I think, like my honest opinion, right? Writing an AI solution is not difficult. I think the key is if you have the right prompt for it. There are several companies, startups are out there that are just, popping up with AI solutions. And usually one of the differentials that they will say is like, I have fine-tuned my prompt, and my prompt is you can actually test what's the accuracy of that prompt itself. But it's a different thing altogether.
I agree. And if you say in Python, we have like Pydantic, we have like a bunch of different libraries that allows you to like type save the response from AI. Like, do we have any such thing with Spring AI framework?
At this time, you have to write it yourself. There are not a lot of libraries right now. With Java, we have like LangChain. That's another library that's available for you to use with different AI solutions. And now you have the Spring AI as well. So we're getting there. Maybe in the future. Maybe you can create one and publish and we can use it.
Sure thing. Awesome. Thank you.
Hi. Quick question. So, can we write some sort of testing, like, or is it possible to verify the changes that we are doing is actually valid or not?
Yeah. So, Elias is not here anymore, right? I did not write a test for this example, right? But shame on me, I know. You can judge me, that's fine. But the tests that are available, there is some test classes that you can actually, what you're testing is the accuracy of what you're trying to achieve or not. So there is actually one interface, one class that is provided by Spring AI that you're going to add your prompt, and it's going to tell you, okay, this is 70% good, or like its return is doing 80% of the times what's supposed to do. But that's about it. There are a few other folks that are actually creating some more like a testing library, so you can use it to actually do more like unit testing. You can unmock this. I tried it. I've asked Copilot to try to do it for me. It also did not succeed until I found out there wasn't a way to actually mock it. So it's still limited. It's a work in progress. Give it another 3 months, we'll get there. But test your code. Don't do it me.
Not a question, but in response to the question about frameworks for Spring and Java for AI, there is a new framework called Embabel that was created by the founder of Spring, Rod Johnson. It was announced just last week, I think. It's Embabel, and it's an agent framework built on top of Spring AI.
Thank you.
Embabel, E-M-B-A-B-E-L.
I actually have the tweet over here. I can share.
Thank you.
Hi, I have a question regarding to the tool calling the signature. Because the language model, it's auto-regression model, so you will predict next token. Suppose you are not generating the signature, you want to call the function, or tool, whatever you call it. Will the framework retry until you generate the correct signature?
That's a very good question. I haven't tried that yet.
Because it can hallucinate, can give you something, yes. Or they have, oh yes, I can do it, but actually that's not what you want.
Yes. This is another very common problem. To be honest with you, I have not tested that out yet. If we could have some sort of like a retry mechanism, if that would even work, because Spring has the retry embedded as well. A very good test. I'm sorry, but I don't have an answer for you. But I'll try and maybe I'll tweet about it.
Do we have any more questions? Going once? Going twice?
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.